I also want to make a little announcement about what we have been really busy about over the summer, and that is with regards to our One Impact campaign for Kittery Point. Now, there are a number of men and women here who are on our building use team and our board of elders. So as I'm talking, if you guys would just make your way up and just stand here on the platform, we're going to put a slide or two up so that you can see some names and faces. And these are men and women who have been giving of their time unstintingly to making sure that we're doing the best job we can in planning for the opening of our Kittery Point campus. So let me start off by just reviewing a couple of things that have been happening today. You may, some of you are maybe new to Bethany, and so this is just a way of recapping where we have come. Back in May 15th, we took a vote to acquire a deed for a church called First Baptist Church in Kittery Point. They had been dwindled down to about 4 members, and this is a prime piece of property. Just about a little more than a mile and a half up from the Naval Shipyard, right on Route 103 off of Haley Road. It's a prime location right down the block from a school that has over 400 kids going from kindergarten to 3rd grade. There is no reason this side of eternity why that church should dwindle down to 4 people. Amen? New Hampshire is a state where 1.7% of the people go to any Bible-believing church. It is the worst in the country. So I don't know about you, but we're tired of seeing churches close or being turned into restaurants. So when they offered us the deed, we did some due diligence, went in to make sure that the building, because not everything is free, right? And so the church came, and when they took the vote, they recognized that vote meant that we were also going to go into that community to establish a gospel-centered work in Kittery Point. And so the church voted at a 95%, approval rate. And that's the aggregate. In Raymond, where we started this work a number of years ago, their vote was 100%. So you can see they were the beneficiaries of this, and they get it. The other thing was that there were some stipulations in that campaign, and that was put out in a frequently asked questions document, an FAQ document. And in that, we talked about the need to raise funds so that we were going to start a fundraiser, but the fundraiser was going to be used for 2 things. One, for the construction costs at Kittery Point, and second, that we were also going to then take whatever monies were left over from the campaign and apply it directly to our mortgage debt here in Greenland. We stipulated that the cash flow would first go towards the construction costs in Kittery, and then we would address the eliminating of our mortgage debt. We also stated that we would only spend what we received. So this was not about, accumulating additional debt. We said, no ticket, no laundry, right? And we're not going to spend money we don't have. But due to the generosity of those here at Bethany Church, we have been fulfilling the pledges at a rate of over 97%, which is pretty unheard of. That's just an amazing thing. I think it speaks well of everyone here. Amen. Now, when we handed out this FAQ, we also said something about this budget. It was cost estimates that we knew carried with them some risks because of the potential inefficiencies of an aging system in the church. I mean, the church itself was built in 1825. So if you were that old, you might need a few replacements, And so after much discussion and some really good counsel from those on our building team, it was decided probably the best path would be to go in and gut the entire building. And we were able to do that, and it's a good thing we did, because what we uncovered were a number of things. One was a structural problem that required some immediate attention. The repair and replacement of beams had to support the ceiling above, which was the floor of our sanctuary. And thanks to our resident engineers here, the woman on our team. She wrote out a plan, gave instructions, and helped to guide the whole team so that they can really fix that problem. So that was awesome. Thank you very much. We also noted that the heating system was undersourced. Ductwork was heating crawl spaces that didn't need to be heated. Electrical system needed an upgrade, and there was just about an absence of insulation in that building. So we're heating the space, and all that heat is just going right out the windows. So as a result, at that juncture, now with a gutted building, funds began to come in, and we hired an architect. And with the hiring of an architect, now we were able to sit down and make up our complete plans, and in those plans there would be a scope of the entire project. So now we started going out and began to solicit construction costs that were firm. So in the beginning we had all these estimates, right? But now people had to put their pencils together and give us some guaranteed numbers. And we found that those numbers were coming in about 10 to 15% higher. And couple that with the availability of a lot of the tradespeople, because there's been a surge in construction, it produced a little bit of a challenge. So now, on top of that, even though all of our plans were code compliant, the state fire marshal decided to err on the side of caution, and we were required to sprinkle the building, which meant that you had to bring in a bigger water main. You had to dig out the street in front. And another one of our building use teams, Jason Lopez, came alongside with the city and helped to direct that and saved us a good bunch of money. But that water main is now brought onto our property so that we can proceed with the installation of a fire suppression system, which, by the way, was about $100,000 more. So all of which is what I'm trying to share with you was in our best estimates, we find ourselves going above that, and the cost that we had initially spoke about was $600,000 that include construction and non-construction items. Non-construction items are like all the furnishings and outfittings that you need for the building to be useful. Chairs for people to sit on, So then we had $150,000 contingency, so the total was $750,000. And now, going back, we recognize that with the rise in our construction costs, and then when you add on all of the soft costs and outfitting, we're going to need about another $300,000. So the total project will be a little over $1 million. So from $750,000 to a little over $1 million. Now, this is a letter that I've prepared. There are going to be copies at the end of this service that you'll be able to pick up. If the elders, you guys come up front, I know you're being bashful, but it'd really be great if some of you came up here, because I want you to be able to take a look at faces, and if anybody has any questions, everything is pretty, disclosing, so we want you to be able to ask those questions. So they'll be up here. You can ask anyone any questions about where we are here. But I will tell you that it's been a unanimous consensus from everybody working here that the most diligent efforts have been made to maintain the scope of our budget and work. So there's no big frills in any of this. It's just creating a building that is sound and useful for generations to come. Now, this budget that I'm giving you, on the platform, please. Thank you. Just can't get good help these days. Thank you. On this side. There you go. Good. That's right. Come on. He's only the chairman of our elder board.
That's why he's hiding.
That's right. That's right. Now, the above proposal that I just shared with you is not going to exceed our campaign commitment. So we have, in pledges, received more than we're going to need for this project, as long as everyone continues to make their contributions as they have, right? And so we're not going to exceed that amount. And Gene Bullis, who is our finance administrator here at Bethany, has already begun to put some plans down that seem to indicate that we're still going to have money left over to put towards the elimination of our mortgage debt. So the project scope includes all these construction costs, and they're now kind of locked in. These are guaranteed prices that the contractors give us, given on the basis of the scope of work, and it also carries a 3% contingency. All the work is going to be fully warranted. Think about this. You're going to have a completely renewed building on the inside, so deferred maintenance is going to be minimal in the foreseeable future. And because of the installation of all cost-efficient systems, our operating costs will be minimized. Plus, the best part is we're doing all this stuff, and it will be debt-free. And think about that. Where are you going to get a building of 10,000 square feet for the amount of money that we're investing into this building? It would be 3 times the cost of that. So this has been a true blessing. Why are we doing all this? As I started off in the beginning, is because we're getting tired of seeing how the church and its presence in a community that is sorely needed is on this decline. We have made a commitment many, many years ago that we would use our best efforts to raise the spiritual landscape of New England. And Bethany Church has been doing that awesomely. Everywhere we go, we try to bring the gospel. And as a result, God opens up this door in Kittery Point, and that's why we're going there. And so I think as God opens it up, to God be the glory. We just go and we do what we can. And now on September the 24th, 2 weeks from today, what I'd like to do is for all of us to gather again. And if you've ever read through the book of Ezra in the Old Testament, there was a time where Ezra gathered all the people together. They reaffirmed their commitment to God and to his will and to his purposes. And everyone together gave a verbal affirmation, let the Lord be Lord, let God be God, and that we will do as he leads. And so on September the 24th, we've already voted, but I just want us again to come together with a verbal affirmation to say, yes, this is good, we're behind it, and we're going. And for those of you who are new and have not had an opportunity maybe to contribute, this is a great time to build into something that will have far-reaching implications. So I'm really excited about this. I am still as gung-ho. I am so confident because of the caliber of men and women that we have serving on these teams. Dennis Rooney, he tried to get away here. Dennis, you're standing in the back. Stand up, please. Dennis Rooney is the chairman of our committee. And Dennis, let me just tell you, Dennis loves to ask the hard questions. And it's a good thing because together we're coming up with the best plan. So my intention this morning is not to just give you an info commercial, but to really let you know what is going on, to make sure that you have that information. It's also going to be emailed out to you so that everybody has a copy, because we want to do everything up front, so that everyone has all the information they need. Amen? Amen. God bless you. Thank you.